Artists, Gabriel, compilations. And we're going to begin. I'm not sure I can do this. I don't have all my stuff on this computer. But just wanted to begin with a song that's not on our chant sheet. Hareini lekabel alai et mitzvah haborei ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. So this is based on a quote from Leviticus, Parashat Kedoshim, how we become holy by loving our fellow, our neighbor, our fellow citizen as ourselves. So just take a few breaths. I'm taking a few breaths as we arrive. Good to see everyone, and I apologize in advance for being a little discombobulated. I'm on a very old, tiny laptop, not my regular screen. So just settling in a little bit together. Here's the melody. Lai, 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 just that melody. Et mitzvah haborei ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha reacha kamocha ya lai lai la 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 Hare So welcome everyone. It's good to see you, even though you're in miniature this morning on my little screen here. I want to welcome Anael Atara back to our community after just your episode in the hospital last week. Welcome everyone. Just take a moment to look around the screen. The screens, 2 screens here. And just see who's here with us this morning. Welcome from many parts of the country, up and down California, all the way to the East Coast, up into Oregon. Today is Rosh Chodesh. It's actually the last day of the month of Shvat. But we are moving into the month of Adar, the month in which we celebrate Purim, the holiday of Purim. And it's said in this month of Adar that when Adar comes, it says in the Talmud, Tanait, that when Adar comes in, joy increases. So we'll chant another chant this morning. It's actually number 5 on your chant sheet if you have it. Ivdu et Ya B'Simcha. Many melodies for this. We're going to chant Rabbi Hannah Tiferet Siegel's melody this morning. We'll talk a little bit more about joy, but just what does that word do when you hear it in your body, joy, or in Hebrew, simcha? Actually, there are many words for joy in Hebrew. Simcha, rina, joyful song, ditza, chedva, many ways of experiencing different flavors of joy, which is, of course, a healing experience. So here's this melody for Ivdu et Ya B'Simcha Bo Lifanav Bir Na. 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 Ivdu, B'Simcha. inviting you to begin to feel that quality of joy wherever you can in your body. Maybe it's just one toe, or maybe it's in your belly. Maybe you're eating breakfast like Susan is and experiencing that quality of joy in your digestive system as you receive the nourishment. Um, I found an essay on joy that's drawn from a book called Joy is an Act of Resistance: How Celebration Sustains Activism. And Susan Felix is an expert on joy and has taught classes on joy, and as I have. So in this in this book, it talks about it's by a woman named Ingrid Fettel Lee. I don't know who she is. I never heard of her work before, but this is a wonderful essay that she in which she talks about how cultivating joy can be an act of resistance because, in the words of Audre Lorde, joyous celebration generates energy for change, which you could say is healing.
Hi, Diane. I'm so sorry to interrupt. It's hard to hear you. Maybe if you got a little closer to the mic.
Let's see, is that any better?
Yes, thank you.
I
And
turned up my volume.
and Rabbi Diane, in case you want to lead us with movement, can you turn on the light in the room so that people can see you better?
Okay, the lights are on. It's just I think this computer is not as bright. So you'll just have to listen to my words if you can't see me well. Can you hear me well though?
Yes, and just a little feedback. I think because of the angle, we're getting the backlight from your curtains coming in. So if you just change the angle, that might help. I know I'm seriously reflective because of the window, right?
Let me close those. Okay, is that any better? Yeah, okay. Thank you for the feedback. This is very strange and different this morning. I haven't even opened this computer for about 6 months, so I'm glad it's still working. So back to joy, expressions of joy, writes Ingrid Lee. Disrupt the rigidity of oppressive situations and regimes. So joy is actually considered dangerous in oppressive situations and regimes. And joyous celebration creates unity and affirms our humanity, promotes resilience, and gives rise to hope. So when we sing and dance together, our heart rates synchronize. This is physiological truth that many of us know who are dancers and singers, especially in choruses or in communal situations when we come together, which we haven't really been able to do for so long. But our heart rates synchronize, our brain waves align, and we come together in community so that even when strangers move together or vocalize together, studies have shown that people become more generous, more altruistic, more willing to sacrifice their own needs for the good of the group. So the ability to enjoy, to take pleasure is actually a measure of our freedom. And it strikes me that the way our sages have sort of arranged and felt their way into this round of the calendar and the holidays is perfect, because in Adar we cultivate joy, and this warms us up for the freedom journey of Nisan, of Passover. So, of course, it's always a challenge when things feel uncertain, difficult, or when we're experiencing illness or pain or discomfort in the body. And certainly at a time like now, during these months of, for some of us, feeling quite isolated, and we're carrying the weight of this year of pandemic and all of the political upheaval that we have experienced, and many losses and much grief, the pain of division and inequity that has surfaced in our society, in our country, and all that's challenging us in the world. How do we unfurl joy in ourselves? What gives us the strength and the energy and the chutzpah to come into joy? And I would say that the Talmud, where it tells us that when Adar comes, joy comes in, doesn't give us any specific instructions as to how to do that. It leaves a lot of leeway for the personal doorways of joy to open. So I want to invite us this morning to see if we can each begin to find spaces in ourselves, maybe just a tiny space in which some quality that you might define or experience or taste as a flavor of joyfulness. Maybe it's just the simple expansion of your in-breath and where you feel that in your body. And the gratitude that comes from receiving that next breath. Just wanting to remind us all to mute in case you're not. And if you can feel the breath moving somewhere in your body, I just want to invite you to find the juicy quality of bubbliness in the tissues right around wherever you're feeling that breath, to begin to find some movement of the connective tissue. So this is our fascia. It's really a quality of oneg, of delight. That's another word for joy, oneg, enjoyment, delight, pleasure. And see if you can let that, even if it's a small place, begin to gently expand to the tissues right around. Try not to leap somewhere else, but to let this begin to seep out into your body like groundwater. And maybe just bringing a little bit of sounding to this beginning of movement. Na, 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 na. As you're doing this movement and allowing it to spread, seeing how far it can spread in some direction, maybe into a limb, this enjoyment. This is the opposite of mechanical. It's an organic, seeping, spreading, fluidifying, joyfulizing of the tissue, and also listening to where the quality of yumminess lives in you, in your body, that is a biofeedback loop that feeds into however you experience lightness, uplift, joyful, gentle expansion, just receiving these words as you move with one sweep of attention. Gather in the whole universe and remember it as your body of bliss. This is from the Radiant Sutras. With one sweep of attention, gather in the whole universe and remember it as your body of bliss. The deep rhythms of life pulsating, stir an ambrosia flowing and overflowing everywhere. The deep rhythms of life pulsating, stir an ambrosia flowing and overflowing everywhere. Drink the nectar of all pervading joy from the radiant cup that is this very body. So I'm just going to begin a little bit of a rhythm Maybe you find your own rhythm. Maybe you want to come to standing and just you can clap, you can tap your body, you can tap your face. You can make sounds of rhythm. And you can look at across the screen, all of us dancing together, even though we can't all hear each other's claps and snaps. The Adar rhythm of joy. As we make our own rhythm band, maybe you did this when you were in kindergarten. And as you're clapping and tapping, maybe you want to find a few places on your body that could use some tapping rhythmically, like a little drum beat right on your own bones, your own skin. Da ba da da ba da cha ba 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 ba. And as we wind that rhythm down, coming into a quiet, still place for just a moment, standing or sitting, just feeling the flows of energy in the body. The breath perhaps has changed for you. Maybe there's some movement in areas that weren't so awake before. If there's discomfort that you're aware of, can you surround it with breath, compassionate breath, loving breath, and awareness? With one sweep of attention, gather in the whole universe and remember it as your body of bliss. The deep rhythms of life pulsating stir and ambrosia, flowing and overflowing everywhere. Drink the nectar. Sometimes we open the refrigerator, pour the glass, but we don't drink it. Drink the nectar of all-pervading joy from the radiant cup that is this very body. Ivdu hatiya b'simcha bolifanav birnanao. Ivdu hatiya b'simcha bolifanav birnana. Ivdu b'simcha, Ivdu b'simcha, Ivdu hatiya b'simcha, bolifanav birnanao. Ivdu hatiya b'simcha, bolifanav birnana. So just sitting and preparing to move toward our Shema. Just feeling your body, the energy that's in you this morning, the movement, the vibration. whatever is present. Part of our practice of joy is that we open to all of it, and even that which may not be so pleasant. To make space for that is also a joyful thing. Just inviting you to bring your awareness to the space outside and around your skin. Perhaps that has been energized also by your moving. And I'm going to invite us to move a little bit more in preparation for the Shema. There's a phrase that is often chanted or spoken when we do the Shema alone. It's lovely to do it when we chant or say the Shema in community as well. El Melech Ne'eman. So the source, the sovereign, the faithful one. And I'm going to invite us to do this in the feminine today. Ella Malka Ne'emana. So it's a little bit different rhythm. Ella Malka Ne'emana. So the divine feminine, the Malka Malchut, the presence within all of creation, Ne'emana, is our faithful companion, guide, helper, supporter, source of resilience. So if you wish to do this movement with me, it's just a swinging movement of the upper body where you release your head, you release the head and swing from side to side as we chant Ella Malka Ne'emana. 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 Returning to center, breathing. And then just as if the Shema were an arrow that you could send right out into the space directly in front of your forehead out into infinity, we'll chant the Shema this morning, sending it out, cutting through like an arrow that we shoot into the universe. So a deep breath and one breath for each word of the Shema. Shema Israel Havaya Eloheinu Havaya Echad. Drawing that powerful energy back in from the universe and bringing it up over your head, pointing your fingertips down at the top of your head as you draw this joyful, unifying energy right down through your own core. And we chant gently, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Letting your fingertips carry that energy down through the base of your own pelvis, right down into the earth, anchoring this awareness of Shema, of hearing, of attending, of presence, the sweep of our attention, anchoring that in this earth. So just taking some moments of silence now to bring in an awareness of others who may be challenged in body, mind, and spirit on this Rosh Chodesh morning. Bringing their presences into your consciousness, your awareness. Humbly offering your korban, your offering, as you draw them close, of support, of witness, of joy. A sharing flow of whatever energy you have raised. Simply sharing the flow. We'll turn toward our healing chant. Number 26 on the song sheet or in the chat. Thank you, Yochanan, for your support. As you hold in your awareness, of course, yourself, all of us in our community and those in our greater communities will have a moment. In a moment, we'll have a chance to speak or write names in the chat. From deep within the home of our souls, now let the healing begin. Ana elna refanallah, Ana elna refanallah. Heal our bodies, open our hearts, awaken our minds. Heal our bodies, open our hearts, awaken our minds. Shekhinah. So please feel free to say names, unmute, or type them in the chat.
Hannah Wilner, Sandy Rowe, Dan Sawyer, Jane Hippos.
Barbara Moss, Craig Atherson, Britt King.
Jane Kaplan.
Sharon Klein.
Sharia Ra, Bob Seltzer, Matt Green, Susie Seltzer.
I want to add the names this morning of Yehudit Bat Krendel, Judith Margolis, Miriam Esther Anael Atara, who is thankfully back with us this morning, Nancy Leora Levy, Ruchel Drera Bat Hesha Hinda Umordechai Isaiah, Patricia D. Chandana Becker, Chava Rachel Bat Batsheva, the Harav Shmuel Avraham, Eve Ilson, Avraham Ben Malka, Sarah Bat Natalie, Sandy Brett, Rabbi Jonathan Omerman, Rabbi Laurie Klein, and the spiritual care team at Stanford Hospitals, Lainey Barbanel Shipper, Malka Davida HaKohen Bat Hadassah, Sulam Susan Freundlich, Barbara Zilber, Maury Zilber. Special prayers this morning for Hahazan Natan Shlomo Ben Nechel Menachem Mendel, Cantor Richard Kaplan, Cantor Robert Michael Esformis, Harav Yachya Abraham Ben Miriam, Rabbi Steve Robbins, Shoel Yidel Ben Chaya Rezel, Shamaya Bat Ruth, Harav Aharon Ben Tova, Rabbi Art Levine. Heal their bodies, open their hearts, awaken their minds. Shechina, heal all of our bodies, open every heart, awaken our minds. Shechina. So we move toward our Kaddish. I just wanted to take a moment. Let's see if I have a hard copy of it because it's on my other computer. This prayer that here it is, that I meant to share with you. It's on the other computer. This healing prayer for an unfinished country, and what I want to say about this is that it draws on this this amazing phrase that we began with this morning, "Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha," loving our fellow being as ourselves, which is a complex and challenging mitzvah practice that we are given. And we have help. So in our Torah portion for this week, Mishpatim, there are quite a few directives that are given to us very specific little suggestions, directive mitzvot, commandments, if you will, for how to live together in community, how to love one another, which isn't always about a feeling. It's not always how we feel about another person, but it always is how we act toward them and how we manifest our caring by making sure that things are safe and taken care of. And if we step on somebody else's toes, that reparations are made. And what struck me in looking at the Torah portion today is that all of these directives are given, and then they're followed by the mitzvah of Shabbat, remember the Sabbath, and remember the 3 pilgrimage holidays. When you come to the central place, you will come into the land and celebrate these 3 times of coming together as a community. And then it says this little phrase, which is part of the tradition of saying travelers' prayers. Whenever we go on the road, there's a traveler's prayer that you can say. And then there are several phrases that are repeated 3 times to kind of ensure one's safety when you're on the road. And this is one of them, and it's in our Torah portion this week. Hine anochi sholeach malach lefanecha lishmarcha baderech. I'm going to send an angel ahead of you to guide you, to guard you on the road. And to bring you to the place that I have prepared for you. And it strikes me that in all the travels of our lives, this is an amazing reminder for ourselves that as we're on the road, which you could say is any practice that we do, even a practice of loving our fellow being is a journey that we take. And we are guided and guarded on the road by a malach, a messenger of the divine that's supporting us to make this journey of loving kindness, of love, and to hold the other as best we can in our loving regard, to resource ourselves with all of the knowledge of what it takes to live in community, all of the specific ways that we care for one another, be it as simple as not burning a wood fire if it's going to, or a grill fire if it's going to inundate our neighbor with fumes, or sweeping our walk and making sure that it's safe for the post person or the delivery person, or that there's a light for someone who's coming, all of the ways that we are mindful of the other. So I promised you that I would get this to you. It's on my other computer, but I'm just going to read the English, and we can hold this kavanah, this intention, together. Let the playing fields of our land be leveled as if by a rolling flood, a powerful torrent. May equity not be perverted, neither by pitying the poor nor kowtowing to the wealthy. Rather, teach us to treat one another with unfailing righteousness, not spreading lies about the other or simply standing aside as they are harmed. Ani Yud He Vav He. Help us to know that we are all of God. Give us the courage not to harbor fear nor hatred of others in our hearts, but rather to speak up against wrongdoing and injustice, lest we ourselves bear the responsibility of that wrong. Open our hearts to those alongside whom we live, so that someday Ahavta l're'acha kamocha. Someday we may come to love them as we love ourselves, so that perhaps someday we may come to truly love ourselves and to know all this world as divine. Ani Yud He Vav He. And we bring into our awareness now all of those who have passed from this earth plane, who are no longer with us in embodied form, and yet their spirits guide us. They are malachim, they are our angels. They are our guides on the way, and we support their spirits and their soul ascents with our intention, with our love, and with our prayers. So please now take a moment to write in the chat or unmute those who have passed in recent days, as well as those who have passed in this year and time and years past at this time.
David Golub, who passed on Monday.
Laurel Zine, Lupe Elizondo,
Glenn, Victor, and my family.
To honor and remember Chaplain Judith Summerstein, Eleanor Bat Shmuel Vasara, the mother of Dan Howard, Nechama Bat Chaim Ve'elka, mother of Rabbi Gila Rezel Raphael, Magid Yitzhak Buxbaum, Yosef Ben Avraham Yocheved, Hanalea Etana Malka Bat Shoshana. And if you wish to rise in body, or of course in spirit, as we say together the Kaddish. Number 30 on your sheet. And please feel free to unmute so we can hear one another. Yitkadal.
Yikdash,
Josh,
Rabba,
yeah,
Amad, Yibra, Yirte, Be'amri, Nafte, Chayef, Chayef, Kol Beit Israel, Bisman Ariv, Yimru, Ish, Me, Rabba, Mevorach, Bit Barak, Bit Tamar, Bit Ho'ar, Bit Man, Bit Naseh, Bit Hadar, Bit Haleh, Shem, Kudisha, Baruch, La'ela, Min, Birchata, Shirata, Bishbechata, Benechamata, the Amiran, Amen. Amin Shemaya, Amin, Nubia, Holy Israel, Bimaru, Amin, Ose Shalom, Benamav, Uya Asa Shalom, Alin, Biakol, Yishbait, Bimaru, Amin.
May all who mourn, all who grieve, be comforted. May those souls in their journeys be guarded and buoyed by angels. May the one who makes peace and wholeness in the cosmos make peace and wholeness in each of our hearts and our bodies. And we say,
Amen. Amen.
Amen. So this beautiful poem to close by our dear Mary Oliver, whom I know many of us are familiar with her work, and this reminder about how bringing our
Hello. Hi.
our
Good. How are you?
okay, let's remute. See if I can mute everyone. I'm not sure. Yeah, here we go.
I just did, Rabbi Diane.
Thank you. So to close this morning, Mindful by Mary Oliver, just how our awareness actually is a source of joy, brings joy. Mindful, every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It is what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these, the untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass? So wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, Hodesh Tov, a wonderful month of Adar. We'll be looking in the next couple of weeks as we come together at the movement toward the holiday of Purim and how we cultivate this joy and how this is a time of healing in a special way this month, the month in which Purim happens. And just unmuting so we can wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, everybody.
Shalom.
Love to all of you.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
See you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Chodesh Tov.
Chodesh Shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Shabbat
Rabbi Diane.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
I see I was muted. So much gratitude.
Thank you. Good to hear your voice, Barbara.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Toda Rabba Lachem.
Mm.
Mhm.